Welcome to The Explainer. So for decades, we've been told the exact same story about success, right? Go to a good college, get a degree in tech or medicine, and you're pretty much set for life. Well, the massive, completely unprecedented explosion of artificial intelligence is quietly flipping that entire script completely upside down. Today, we're going to dive into the really fun, super surprising, and actually incredibly helpful reality of who the AI boom's biggest winners actually are. And spoiler alert, it's really not just the software engineers.
All right, to really grasp this, picture this exact scene. It's May 2026. Jensen Huang, the CEO of the world's most valuable semiconductor company, is standing up there giving a commencement speech. He's looking out at 5,800 elite Carnegie Mellon computer science grads. Now, these are literally some of the most sought-after students in the entire country who just spent 4 rigorous years learning to build AI. And what does he tell them? He straight up says that the real opportunity right now belongs to electricians, plumbers, and ironworkers. He told them point blank, this is your time. And he wasn't just being poetic or trying to give some folksy motivational speech. He was essentially just reading the realities off a balance sheet.
And that brings us to the absolute core question driving this entire massive shift. Who is actually going to physically build this AI revolution? We talk about AI living in the cloud, right? Which makes it sound like this magical, weightless, invisible thing. But the truth is, the cloud is incredibly heavy. It lives in massive physical data centers. These sprawling, gigantic facilities require unbelievable amounts of power, super intricate cooling systems, and heavy-duty physical infrastructure just to function. You literally cannot code a building into existence.
Which brings us to Section 1, the data center gold rush and the bidding war.
We're watching a historic, massive shift in who actually holds the leverage in the job market right now. To understand just how wild this bidding war has gotten, listen to this. Speaking at BlackRock's 2026 Infrastructure Summit, Mike Rowe, the dirty jobs guy, pointed out how our education system's traditional framing of the trades as some sort of vocational consolation prize is just completely broken and outdated. He described meeting tradespeople who are literally getting poached like pro athletes between competing tech projects. The trades are definitely no longer a backup plan, they're becoming this highly lucrative absolute first choice.
Now get ready for the specific number behind Mike Rowe's observation, because it's absolutely wild. $280,000 a year. That's right. He met data center electricians, and these are kids under the age of 30, by the way, who are hitting the staggering salary ceiling. Because major tech giants are fighting tooth and nail over their services, a young adult just 5 years out of high school can pull down a salary that totally rivals or even beats a specialized surgeon who's probably still drowning in medical school debt.
But hey, maybe you're thinking, okay, sure, that's the absolute max ceiling for the lucky few. What about the average worker? Well, according to the AI hiring platform Skillit, the average base salary for a construction worker just starting on a data center project is $81,800. That's a massive 32% premium over regular, non-data center construction work. So the floor is incredibly high. And the ceiling? The ceiling is just astronomical.
So why exactly is the pay so incredibly high? Well, it's just basic supply and demand. Goldman Sachs ran the numbers and projects that we need 81,000 specialized electrician openings filled every single year, just to keep pace with this exploding demand for data centers. Literally every major tech company is frantically trying to build these massive facilities at the exact same time, and they all need the exact same 81,000 specialized workers to do it.
A fascinating 2026 analysis from Randstad, which looked at 150 million US job postings, really nails the ultimate modern paradox here. It now takes an average of 54 days to hire a software developer, but it takes 56 days to hire an electrician. Stop and really think about that for a second. Finding the highly educated person to program the AI actually takes less time than finding the person to physically wire the outlet that the computer plugs into. The physical builders are literally harder to find than the coders.
All right, let's move into Section 2, Big Tech's training pipeline.
Because these tech giants are so incredibly desperate for workers, they're not just waiting around, they're stepping in themselves. Google and Meta alone have completely opened their wallets, combined to pour over $165 million into training pipelines. And this money isn't going toward teaching people how to use AI software. No, this massive investment is strictly to train the people who will physically build, wire, cool, and maintain their massive AI infrastructure. They are literally funding their own future workforce out of sheer necessity.
To give you a real sense of what this actually looks like on the ground, let's talk about Meta's America's Workforce Academy. They've launched this massive program across facilities in Louisiana, Ohio, Indiana, and Texas.
And just listen to these perks. They cover your tuition. They provide your airfare. They pay for your lodging. They even give you a daily stipend to live on. Oh, and if you complete the training, you are guaranteed employment. It's officially the largest private sector job guarantee trades program in U.S. history. They are removing literally every single barrier to entry.
And because of all this, the workers who are already in the trades are consolidating immense power. Take IBEW Local 26, which is a specific union hall over in Northern Virginia. Since 2018, they've doubled their membership to over 14,700 people. Why the huge jump? Because they hold 97% of all the electrical work for Amazon Web Services, Microsoft, Google, and Meta data centers in that entire region. This isn't some union struggling to stay relevant. This is an organization that literally cannot train people fast enough to meet big tech's demands. They hold all the leverage.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 3, college debt versus the union hall.
So if you're a 17-year-old high schooler right now, or honestly, even a 35-year-old looking to make a smart career pivot, you've really got to make an informed choice based on the current math, not the outdated advice of the past. Let's do a quick reality check on the stark contrast here. The traditional path usually means taking on an average of $104,000 in student debt for a 4-year degree, giving you 48 solid months of absolutely zero career income. Compare that to an IBEW apprenticeship. These are often evening and weekend programs where you can actually earn $42,000 in your very first year. Zero upfront cost, no massive loans, no 4-year gamble. You're doing paid work from day one while your former classmates are just racking up massive debt.
And that brings us to our final part, Section 4, what this means for you.
This isn't just some neat, abstract economic trend we're talking about. This is a massive, flashing neon market signal pointing directly at your next potential career move. And honestly, the takeaway here is incredibly empowering. You do not need to understand complex algorithms. You don't need to learn to code. You don't need to build a massive tech portfolio or figure out which wildly expensive coding bootcamp is actually worth the money. The market is absolutely begging for hands-on training to build the physical future. If you are willing to get in there and run conduit through a concrete floor at 6 a.m., these companies will happily pay you $80,000 to start, just for the absolute privilege of your time. Because at the end of the day, no software update is ever going to wire a building.
These companies building the future of AI are telling us exactly what skills they value most, and they are saying it loudly with their wallets. Which leaves us with a massive, mind-bending question that completely rethinks the modern American dream. In today's economy, is your absolute fastest path to a 6-figure income going to go through a traditional lecture hall or a union hall? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this helps you, or maybe someone you know, navigate the incredible, totally unexpected opportunities in this new AI economy. Catch you next time.